Mr. Chancellor, President Travis, honored guests, faculty, my fellow graduates, their families and friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, may I congratulate all you young graduates and wish you all the best as you embark on the next phase of your lives. Then, had I had the choice, I would have brought along my colleagues from Symphony in Nova Scotia to offer a musical salute to you, but apparently they heard that I was going to receive an honorary degree, so they fled to Cape Breton to play music on concerts there. I don't know how many of you have experienced what I'm experiencing today, to be surrounded by so many distinguished people who have amazing achievements in many other fields. Those who have will know how I feel. They will understand how tremendously honored I feel to stand before you today. I'm grateful, humbled, and also a bit proud. Proud because we, and I say we consciously, for I include my orchestra, we must have done something right to be honored in this wonderful way. And I knew that such an honor comes with a prize. Actually, with two prizes. One is I have to make a speech, which is quite still a bit frightening to me. I know that when I talk from the concert stage in my Germanic English, I'm forgiven because the audience has chosen to come to hear us. Today, it's different. And the second prize is, whether you believe it or not, it's the first time in my life that I'm wearing a hat. It's probably not a big surprise that I will talk about music. Art, and here I mean the entire creative spectrum, literature, the visual arts, all performing arts and music, is the one thing that really makes us human beings so very unique, a unique species. It is this very creativity which makes the big difference. Religious people would say that it makes us similar to God. In the Bible, it's written that God created man in his own image. It's writers, composers, painters, sculptors, and more recently filmmakers who also create whole worlds and decide how they should look, feel, what they should express. Is this not a proof of this Bible quotation? And of all the arts, music, and I know that many of you will say, of course he has to say that, music is the most mysterious, the most moving, most comprehensive, most complex art of all. No other art comes from that deep inside a human psyche and can go that deep into a human psyche. No other art form can create such ecstasy, fear, happiness, sadness, grief, desperation, joy. Music can be a medium which articulates emotions you aren't able to express with words. And I think an emotion not expressed remains to me unredeemed. An example, when Wagner's Tristan and Isolde appeared on stage for the first time, there were people in the audience who couldn't bear the emotional stress of this music, which this music expressed in a way they have never heard it before. And many of them literally freaked out. While listening to Bruckner Symphony, some people fall into religious ecstasy, even if they aren't religious. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony makes you jump into the air with joy. You are confirmed there is nothing more perfect and glorious than human beings. All these emotions are caused by instruments and voices which create sound waves carried by the air into your ears, and there a miracle occurs as it hits your soul or your mind or your spirit or whatever you want to call it. Music can be a carrier of specific messages, and I don't mean music with text. I'm talking about abstract instrumental music. I remember when I once conducted a concert in Germany with Brahms' First Symphony. At the beginning of the fourth movement, when the strings play this very famous, wonderful melody, suddenly the famed biblical words from Corinthians came into my head, quote, "And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love," unquote. Sometime later, I read that Brahms was inspired by exactly this Bible quotation to write this melody. I think that's a fantastic phenomenon. Another example of what music can do. Music, especially making music in small groups, can improve intelligence in children. Scientists found that out. I don't make that up. Scientists found it out. Which parents don't want to have more intelligent children? So wouldn't it be a clever move not only to support sports, which is fine, but to the same degree support music and the arts to improve the chances in life of a young generation? Or, on a more general level, 2 days ago I heard Donald Sobey say at the announcement of the Sobey Art Award winner, "Where visual arts flourish, prosperity follows." I think the same must be said about classical music and the music life of a city. To illustrate another aspect, here's a story told to me by my mother. Just months after the last war ended, she was living in a huge house where many American soldiers were billeted. One evening, when the soldiers got together to have a kind of a party, they forced my mother to join in. The party got wilder and milder and louder and louder. More and more alcohol was drunk. The furniture started to fly around. My mother was a blonde girl of 20 years. The air became increasingly dangerous. And then, instinctively, and she could never explain why she did that, she sat down at the grand piano and began to play a Beethoven sonata from the first to the last note. The atmosphere changed. The mood became calmer. The soldiers got quieter, sat down, and listened until the end. Then, one by one, they shook her hand, thanked her, and left the room. The normal explanation would be that music calms one, puts one in a good mood, relaxes you. I'm convinced this is a huge misunderstanding. Maybe the Moonlight Serenade does that. But these soldiers were not calmed down by Beethoven. They were confronted and reminded that there is something greater than life, that it means something to be a human being, that there is an ideal. We don't know how it looks, what it is. We only feel there is something. And great art, especially great music, gives us a glimpse of it here and there. And at the same time, we are aware that we will never achieve this ideal, at least not for a long, long, long time. This conflict between showing us a fraction of the idea of a promised land and knowing that it's unreachable stirs up our emotions. The fact that we have felt on rare occasions that we were closer to this ideal thrills us, but it also makes us sadder or happier or more depressed. In any case, it sharpens our awareness. Maybe that's the reason why one calls it serious music. Of course, such moments don't occur every time we hear or play music. They can only happen when all the parameters are right. We cannot force this. We can only try to create conditions as best we can so it can happen. And I'm sure when my mother played for the soldiers, it obviously happened. This is, in a nutshell, what makes this profession, in whatever function, so exciting. To work with this phenomenon, music, is a huge privilege. It enriches my life, and I hope it enriches the lives of people who come to the concerts. I have to tell you, it feels very good to live and work in a city which has a university which considers music and music making worthy of this great honor. Thank you very much.